come back to the screen. Move this out of the way so I can see where I'm going. Oh, let me see. Did I get everybody? Devon, Matt, Paul, Gabby, are you here? Yeah, Gabby's here. Simran, Sharon. If I saw Sharon. All right, I can redo that again in a second. All right, so let me go to our discussion. And let me start at the bottom. Someone put some final tornadoes in here. And I'm gonna make some marks so I keep track of this. Alex. So I think this is working pretty well. I think the timing of your core is pretty good. All right, so a couple of things that I would just like to comment on. Come on, wake up, Zoom, wake up. Zoom! You know, after this whole year, I still haven't figured out how to get that thing to be quicker. Stupid thing. All right, Alex, are you here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I like everything that you're doing here. What I think that you would need is, this is looking like a sponge up here. And so in order to make it not look like a sponge, I think that it might be kind of fun to draw another couple of bits. And then some, maybe another layer out here. And you can see that just the addition of these kind of mid-level clouds up there, it's going to do you really well. And remember, these are going to move a little slower, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I like this. I like this little scratchy thing, which is kind of surprising to my eye because normally I don't like seeing the digital stylus effect, but I think it would be really hard to get away from this. I think that what might be kind of fun is on top of this little scratchy thing that you've got going there is put another, hold on a second. Someone's coming in. Oh, hold on a second. I have to stop sharing. So I'm drawing in blue here. It might be fun, right on top of this is to draw like a highlight layer. Wherever it moves, right? Just another highlight on top of it. Put it on a layer on top of it. You still need to, well, you have the debris, but so brighten up this debris. You know, if I draw in blue here, the contrast of those little marks is greater and you can see it better. So hopefully you've done that thing where I suggested that you use a different color in Toon Boom for everything, so that all you have to do is ramp up that color, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the other thing is that you've got a lot of real estate to play with here. Have some debris come all the way out here. Not a lot of it, but just for variety. The idea would be is that there would be a lot more debris, a lot more stuff happening here, but then there should be a few things that kind of fall out over here. And you can use that same technique where you follow the bouncing ball in animation, right? Where you have the thing move fast and then it eases into the top of the arc and then eases out. And then it just bounces and ends right here. And it's okay if it disappears as the loop happens. All right, and then the other thing that you could do is add another layer underneath, behind this cone. that is just kind of like an outline of it, and then make it transparent. And you could even kind of use this orange color, which was just a kind of a random thing. So this would just be like another shape behind it. But then you could do it even with one of the stipple brushes, one of the charcoal brushes in Toon Boom, so that you don't have such a hard edge. And then you can paint it with a solid color, and you should get a little stippling on the edge, but then give it like a 50 or 40% transparency, something like that. You've got some dead space here. And I think that what you can do is you can use that technique that I talked about last week, where you get some mid-level clouds that are just kind of moving one way. They're all, it's just moving to the left kind of slowly. So have like one piece of art and then just move it slowly. You could do this twice. You could do like, this is the foreground, this would be mid-ground, and then you could do another layer of clouds really deep behind it, and get that idea of atmospheric perspective working in there, and have that move even more slowly. And then, just because of the rules of art, it might also be fun then to either draw a cityscape back here, right? So you got all kinds of buildings, and you can dissipate it here so that it doesn't interfere with your composition. This could either be a city or a town. You could even put in like telephone poles if you want. Something like that, just to dress it up. I also think you need a little bit more contrast with these marks here, whatever they are. And I think just by the rules of art, I think that whatever these things are, if it's grass, or if this is a planar surface, I think that one of the things you might have missed here was drawing out your perspective grid and trying to figure out what this is. If this is a mile away from us, and these are houses, then draw them as houses. And then as the perspective gets bigger, you could actually draw, somewhat of a cityscape or something. And maybe there's like one house that's really close, another house over here that's just really close, and that'll help dress up the shot. All right, you got that?
Yeah.
Oh, and then I almost missed it. You need your lightning.
Oh shoot, you're right.
I know, and it's hard always being right. Everyone hates me because I'm always right.
No.
So yeah, get your lightning in there, and remember how to do that, right?
Yeah.
In here, I think that, and this is just for everyone, remember that the one technique is to get the lightning working, get the flash. You have your tutorial, you have your demo on how to do it. It's actually really easy. But then on a layer underneath it, you can put like a glow, and you can put a blur and a transparency on the glow, so that when the white happens, there's a glow behind it, and that flashes white, black, white, just like we talked about before. Or you could have this, and you could have little bits of lightning back here that are just really small, and trade out this background right here. Or actually it would be, now that we made those other additions, it'd only be this background right here, right? Just this background for white, black, and white. Then you can have a couple of different kinds of lightning in there. So this is good. I don't think you need to fix anything. I think that you just need to keep going on it.
Okay.
Look at all
I have
the-
a question.
Yes.
After you critique everyone else's, can you show how to do the transparency again? Because
Oh, sure, absolutely. let me write a note here so I remember.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, this, like, we talked about this last week, right?
Yes.
Okay. Javon, this was new.
Yes.
Okay, so, this is a good start. I'll make some sketches for you here. I'm studying it. Okay, so let me. Come on, Toon Boom. Or Zoom. Maybe that's the problem. I'm thinking Toon Boom. There we go. All right, so Javon. I think it's a good start. I can see that there's a couple of frames in there where there's some open spaces, and that's not too bad. You definitely need some clouds out here.
Okay.
Because the tornado is not just going to be living by itself.
Right.
So, and whatever these are doing, so these are moving counterclockwise. And just remember my timing thing, right? Remember the little thing I did?
Yeah.
So that anything moving around the middle is really fast. And I think you've got that. These clouds here, everything's timed the same, but I think that you could use, a couple of clouds right out here, a couple of more clouds out here.
Okay.
You don't need too many, but just a couple just to break up that space.
Okay, sure.
Those are
Yeah.
moving quickly, and then these guys out here are probably 16 frames.
Slower.
Go ahead.
You said the ones out there would be moving slower?
Yeah, the stuff moving towards the middle is always faster.
All right, got you.
And then I think that you need a background.
Right.
So you need
Yep.
some like clouds back there that are, and depends on how far away you want them to be. But this little element right here is actually like this big. And in Toon Boom, you just take this thing and you track it. So were you in class last week?
Last week, no, I wasn't.
Well, I did a little tutorial last week on how to get things to move in Toon Boom. You set this
Okay.
as a key,
Right.
and this is actually a little wider over here. And then down the timeline, you set that little element as a key, and it's like F6, I believe, or something like that. You set it as a key. Come on, there we go. And then you go out in the timeline and you set a key out here at whatever it is. Like in my demo, I had like 88 frames. And then you use the move tool, which is a strange little thing on the left side. And then you go to this key right here and you actually move this element on this keyframe to the left from this position, just to like this position over the entire 88 frames. And when you do that, you get a little bar all the way across the timeline. And then this will move. And then this
does it tween it like
yeah,
almost?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it gives you a frame for every single in between. You need your debris. You need debris down here.
Yeah, I was gonna do debris. I was just adding in the mountains before I submitted it.
Yeah, that's okay. But and then you need some lightning in there.
I was actually gonna put the lightning on my volcano.
That's true, but I think that you have some points to make up, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I can also add it into the tornado.
Yeah. Tornadoes are vicious creatures, so I think you need this.
Yeah.
Then I think that you've got this blue and light blue thing working here. It might be fun to add another color in here.
Okay.
Because just for contrast.
Yeah.
Just for
I can
contrast.
see it. I can see it.
And I think that you need a giant Pikachu here. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, because you remember that we combined projects, and in
Right.
combining projects, in other words, the class is it's a lot. It's a bunch of work, but not everything is due every single week. And
Gotcha.
there's a good and bad thing about that. The bad thing is that you don't know exactly how each little piece is functioning as a class, as a cohort, but you have to do it on your own. You have to make sure that you don't get behind, because we're actually doing 4 or 5 things in each project. So yeah, and I'll put the flag demo in today, and you can use that as a little bit of extra credit. All right, thanks,
Okay.
John.
Thanks.
All right, go backwards here. And this is your volcano.
Yes. I didn't add in the lightning, as I said. I just exported the version I had.
Again,
But,
I like that little, the graphic thing that you've got going here. There's like in a couple of frames, there's like a skull in there. It looks kind of cool, you know. But you've got one piece that's moving backwards. As soon as Zoom starts to behave itself here. Zoom. You know, I always wanted, there was this thing that I always wished for. In my birthday is in November.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wanted this feature in Photoshop that has a button, and it's just do it. just work. I don't care about the printer, just print it.
I can
wouldn't that be
understand
cool?
that.
Wouldn't that be cool? That would be a really great function.
That'd be very convenient.
All right, so this is moving backwards here. See this one right here?
Yeah.
So you've got to fix this. I don't think that this is one of those instances where you need to redo the whole thing. You should not redo the whole thing. But this big piece right here is moving backwards. So
Okay.
you've got to fix that. It's inconceivable if you've ever watched The Princess Bride.
Okay, I'll get right on that.
That's moving backwards. So this guy right here is moving backwards.
Yeah, just a couple frames right there. Yeah, I'll fix that really quick.
But it's weird that it stopped on me. Also, I think that you need to add a little bit more out here.
Okay.
And I don't mind this. I think it's okay, but this is kind of barren right here. So what I think that you might want to do is have a couple of rocks tumbling down.
Yeah, I was actually thinking right there to add in maybe some fire, because I still have a couple more
Oh yeah, that's
elements.
a good idea. So right,
To,
so either
add in.
here, and what are you going to do here? You're going to do a giant splash.
Well, yeah, that's on the right side. I kind of was thinking of, adding in the lightning. So like the thundercloud right there above it, and then the
Right.
rain falling down into the puddle right there.
So make
And
sure
then,
that you've got like some separation of background
Right.
and midground and foreground, and use our theory of atmospheric perspective. Right, even just these lines right here kind of improve the setup. I don't mind this. I think it's okay, but I think what I'd like you to do is go back in here. Remember, and I like these little stylized lines you've got going in your background.
Thanks.
Right, I think that those are working pretty well, but I think that what you need is to go back on every frame and add a little highlight.
Okay.
Just add a little bits of highlight in here. It'll help on on top of each one of the little yellow bits. I think that'll help. I mean, it is a little inconceivable that lava moves that fast, but it's not. Lava can move like crazy fast. Lava can move
Yeah,
like 30 miles an hour. So yeah, I don't mind that at all. And I love this. This is great. I think you just need to make sure that that piece is not going backwards and that you extend it out over here a
a
little
little bit
bit.
more. Okay.
Yeah, this is looking really nice. You got to finish it. Just keep working on it.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Javon. All right, so that was that one. And by the way, that considerably, those two bits right there, that considerably changes your midterm grade. So don't worry.
All right, thank you.
You now got yourself into a better place. So that's good.
Thank you.
No, thanks for doing work. Keep doing more work. And again, I
Gotcha.
apologize to just all of you who, some of you, I know that some of you like more of a rigid schedule. And I apologize just for giving you more of a free form way of doing our projects together. Okay, so this is Gabby. Okay, so Gabby, this is just a drawing here. Do you want to walk us through this?
Yeah, so I was thinking about having her like making the potion and then it turning into my orb. And then that going through the window and then that becoming like what my first assignment for the class was,
Okay,
if that makes sense.
so so what happens first? Or so the bubbles are continuous right here.
Yeah, so the little things, I just wanted background, little small ones that are gonna continuously be happening through the animation. And the main focus is like the potion she's making that turns into the orb.
Okay, oh, okay. And then it goes out the glass and breaks the glass.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I have some pointers for you.
Mhm.
Your drawing is fabulous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Come on, Zoom. Just do it. Where's that button, Javon? Where's that button? Just do it.
We need it.
Wasn't that the Nike
I think so, yeah.
catchphrase for a while? Just do it.
Yeah, I think it still is. If I'm
Oh, it
not
is?
mistaken. Yeah.
All right, Gabby.
Mhm.
The first thing that I'm worried about is that you're drawing this in a really square format,
Okay.
and you need to think about this much more real estate over here
Mhm.
and about this much more real estate over here. I mean, sorry about these scrappy lines, because it should be 16 by 9.
No, yeah, I think you mentioned that and I think I forgot. So that's probably my problem.
But this is a lot because
Mhm.
so you're in animation, right?
Yes.
So there's a thing in animation called rebatment. And it's kind of a thing that the Disney studios kind of invented this usage of this coming straight out of the Renaissance.
Mhm.
Because what they were looking at was that in a composition like this, if you look at, there's really no cinematic thirds in here because it's really square. And so
Mhm.
when you look at this, you have a focal point like right in the middle.
Mhm.
And then the artists, especially the background and the layout artists, were realizing that if you were using the 4:3 ratio, which was called Academy, which had
Mhm.
nothing to do with the Academy of Art University, they knew that there was a thing called rebatment, and that was that if you take this square, this rectangle, and make it square, that this is now square, and that this line right here was the right side rebatment. And then, and remember, this is 4:3. And so then if you take the square from this side, right? So now
Mhm.
this square, And so this ends up becoming a rebatment. And then you have, so that gives you a focal point here, and your rebatment was like right here, and then there was another one right here. And that's just about all they had to work with. Some of the artists in the Renaissance were working with the golden mean, which was 1 to 1.61. And that was a really wonderful natural proportion. And you can see it. Remember that one looks like this. That's that little, the golden spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Have you ever heard that before? The golden mean?
Yes.
So this affects everything. When you add this much real estate on each side,
Mm-hmm.
like now you've taken your focal points, which are technically on right and left side rebatment and the center. And when you do this, don't make this stuff here just random. What I would suggest is taking this little shelf and moving it out to about here, and taking this little, what is this thing right here?
It's like a bottle with a frog in it.
Okay, so I would make the bottle more in perspective.
Okay.
And then, yeah, move that over. And instead of drawing this in the front view,
Mm-hmm.
just give yourself a sense of real perspective here,
Okay.
and draw these little bottles that are more in perspective. And that gives you a lot of room up here. I would take the window in the background and diminish it so
Okay.
that its border is about right here. Or either that or make it bigger, because I
Okay.
think that you're getting into trouble with a near tangent right there. So everything else, this is interesting. I love this. This is a really great thing. And you can't see it here because of the tools in the Academy presentation board. But I think that what might be really fun with these crystals is to do a little glow around them.
Okay.
You know, do like this little thing where so they're glowing, and maybe
Mhm.
like a little bit of pulsing sprite lights, if you will.
Okay.
And so this like goes in and out. If you look at me in the monitor up there, it's like,
Mhm.
and just animate it.
Okay.
Animate it. And so animate this like going in and out. And you know how to do that, right? To animate something that's cycling, you start, that's not the best way to do this. So this is your crystal. And so you start with a glow, whatever the design you want to work with, put it underneath the crystal. And so that's your first keyframe. And so that's keyframe number 1. And then the idea is that you want it to be slow. So go out to frame like 17, and then have the glow go out to here. And so that's frame 17.
Okay.
And then start from frame 17 and go all the way back down to 1. So you go out and then back in again. It's the same idea of cycling in animation. And then what you want to do, so you want to get that working, you could probably do this on 8s.
Okay.
And it's really even. So your timing here is, you may only need 1. So this would be drawing number 9 and 5 and 13. I think that's right. Yeah, you could use this kind of timing. So you're only going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drawings for each one of the pulses. And then you go backwards. So in your camera sheet, you go drawing 1, 5. Now, I'm sorry. Well, you can do this a number of different ways. But you do 1, 5, 9, 13, and 17, and you set that timing like on 2s. And then you go backwards and you repeat the same drawing. So you copy and paste in the timeline in Toon Boom, going backwards. So you do 1, 5, 9, 13, 5, and don't do 1 again.
Okay.
Because it's already here.
Yeah.
It's already cycling. And so if
Okay.
this is set on 4s right here, and then just go and see if that works. If it's too fast, then take the same drawings down to 1, 9, and put it on 8s. And
Okay.
then paint this with like a radial gradient.
Okay.
And if this is purple, if this is a purple crystal, use pink behind it.
Okay.
If this is a blue crystal, then use purple behind it. Yeah, this is great. I love this little swirling thing here. Popping bubbles. You know, the other thing that might be cool about these popping bubbles is if these pop like mud, like we did last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them actually rise up and then
Okay.
pop, and then pop like regular water bubbles. That could be kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what is splashing here? Oh, I see. So yeah, to do your water splash. And you can do a stylized water splash here where it's kind of this kind of shape.
Okay.
So there's your cone right there. All right, and then I think that you're obligated to do all kinds of other things. You gotta involve pixie dust in here somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you've got stuff happening in this area or stuff not happening yet in this area. Did I see the, oh, you had a little fairy right here. This is like a little Tinkerbell right here.
Mm-hmm.
It might be kind of fun if the fairy kind of flies in and then lands,
Okay.
little
Mhm.
squash and stretch. And as
Mhm.
she kind of flies in, she leaves a little pixie dust behind her.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll go over broken glass today. In this example here, I think that you would just break this pane of glass and this pane of glass and maybe even this window frame
Mm-hmm.
as well. Yeah, so yeah, this is looking pretty good there.
Thank you.
Sorry for ruining your drawing.
Oh no, great. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Gabby. All right, and then let's go to the other discussion here. Okay, Simran, are you going to animate the leaves on this tree or not? I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to work on the palm trees and the lightning.
All right.
But I wanted to see if this size of the fish was going to be fine, or should I make it bigger?
No, he's fine.
Okay.
But I have some pointers. I think the first thing that just really catches your eye is that you've got a decision to make, really, more than anything. Come on, Zoom, wake up. Javon, where's my button? Come on, Zoom.
On the way.
I want it by November. All right, so the first thing that kind of catches your eye is that these lines for the lightning, I think you need to just kind of go in there and think about it. For the first thing is this, that they don't interact with any of the pieces of the midground or background.
Mhm.
And I'm not minding it so much, but I think that you might want to go in there and strengthen up parts of the line so that the lightning is not just a piece of broken spaghetti.
Just like to make it
So
bigger.
get some parts of the lines that are thicker
Okay, yeah.
and give a variety of density or thickness of the lines. You've got this, so it is looking very stylized. And I think that one thing that will help the stylization of this line in the lightning is that you're going to copy that. You've got it copied over here. When you're giving a strong outline to this smoke, then you're obligated to kind of draw that everywhere.
Okay.
And what's happening is that you've got a nice, we're going to call this the deep background right here. And so these are nice and thick, which is fine. That means you got to go into this mountain. And I think that this mountain is too triangular anyway. So go in and really strengthen up the exterior lines on this mountain and give it more of a ragged kind of mountainous kind of shape. Even this line right here needs to be outlined thicker. These guys are okay. This is okay. I think that this is too circular. It's too geometric for a shoreline. And so my suggestion would be is to go in and strengthen up this line and at the same time give it more of an organic shape to it. And it looks like you've got it moving a little bit.
Yeah, that was.
And so that should be really thick. This line that you draw right here should be, it's getting more towards the camera, so it should be a little bit thicker. Now you got to be careful because you've got some really spindly lines with this fish hook thing working here. So try this. Just try these suggestions right here, and then go into these little puffy clouds and make sure that the outline of them is thick enough that it matches this outline.
Okay.
And you can feel it. You can say, oh, why are these guys treated differently? It looks like you're just not done with it. But strengthen up these and then see how it looks and squint at it. Give it the college art school squint test. Because what's going to happen is that what you've kind of got going here is reverse atmospheric perspective, where the thickness of these lines in the very deep background are very, very thick. And then they get thinner as they come up towards the camera.
Okay.
See it?
Yeah, I do.
And so that's what you're obligated to. And because of that, you're going to have to break up this deep background here just a little bit. And so my suggestion would be is to go in and put in some, like, you've got a kind of a cartoony look to it already as it is. And so go in and put like really, 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 really thick outline of deep clouds in the background, just really, really thick as you can possibly get. Let me keep doing this just to make it a visual thing for you here.
And I can have that animate slowly throughout the piece.
This cloud here.
Yeah, should I?
Well, what you can do is that what we did last week, just draw one piece of art and drag it across the stage. But I'm just trying to see if this is going to actually work. I think it's going to work. You could even borrow the exact shape I'm doing right now. Because I think it works. I think you've got the little cartoon thing working. And then make it longer over here. And then take this whole piece of artwork and keyframe it, and then have it move slowly just to the left so that you have enough area over here.
Okay.
So use like some color with a really, 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 really thick line, as thick as you can possibly get right here.
Mhm.
And then paint it like a analogous color, even in the same color palette, just like you've got going here, brown and brown, or gray and gray, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because you've got a technical reverse atmospheric perspective happening.
Okay.
And then it doesn't matter if these leaves move or not. You've got fire, water, lightning, smoke. All right, so that's my take on that one.
Okay, thank you, Billy.
Oh, you're welcome. Gabby. Sorry, I'm studying it. So I like everything that you've got going here. I think that it's really nice. The only thing that's bugging me is this rain in the background.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of a clever way to repair it. For one thing, I think the rain, you can tell that it's just a piece of art, because look,
Yeah.
you haven't drawn all the raindrops. So, and I know that what you did was just you took one piece of art and dragged it like we talked about last week, which is fine. I don't mind that, but I think that what will be better for you, because you've got the foreground droplets, those are working great. You've got the midground droplets. I think that those are fine, and some of them are hitting the water. That's fine. Your lightning is great. These little clouds here, that's fine. I mean, it's inconceivable that the clouds are moving to the right, but the rain is moving to the left. But on the other hand, that kind of makes the idea of swirling air much more ominous. All right, so let me get Zoom to wake up again. Oh my God, if I could have all this time back, I'm waiting for my annotations to come up. Zoom. Oh my God. I'm going to turn into Pee Wee. Look, I don't know. All right, so I think that what will help you here is the realization of a couple of things. One is that you've got these raindrops here that are really, really big in the foreground. And then you've got ones that are in the midground that are a little smaller. And I think that what you could do is you could put ones that are about this big that are actually animated. I think those are missing, and keep those going in the same kind of direction. But for this clouds right here, what you've got is you've got them behind. So if this is the background, and if this is the midground, then this is the foreground, and all this is working. You've got some interesting things happening with the lava, that's great. You've got these little bubbles, that's great. And the composition, everything is working. I think that you need to put more in-betweens on the smoke right here.
Okay.
I like it. It's timed out pretty good. What is it on right now?
I think it's on 8s.
Yeah, try to put it on 4s.
Okay.
Put this on 4s. But then for this rain, it's supposed to be behind everything. And so it looks like you've got maybe a transparency node on this little fume.
Yeah, I do.
So here's what I would suggest. For this rain, for one thing, it's moving incorrectly. You've got it kind of moving this way, kind of in this kind of direction. And I think that what you needed to do is move it in this direction.
Yeah.
But first of all, but what I think you should do is on that piece of artwork in Toon Boom, just use your control key or your main select arrow and select everything and delete all this rain. Just delete it. But that leaves the key in place. That leaves the key in place, and it leaves the animation for the key in place as well. Then go in and just put like, that's what I want to do. I don't want to do this. What I want to do is just use little droplets, at just a couple of little droplets.
Okay.
And see if that works.
All right.
Otherwise, if my suggestion would be is that with this fine of a pencil line as you could do, and remember that the rain is going to fall in lines. The rain is going to
Mhm.
literally fall in lines, and make them as thin as possible. And
Okay.
then put a transparency node on it, and then put a blur node on it, and
Okay.
just be gentle, right? And just
Mhm.
test it and make sure that the direction of the rain line is the same direction as the movement. That's important because you've got, I don't know how to explain it without showing you, but you've got like this kind of shape right now moving in
Mhm.
this direction, and that's a little
Yeah.
unnatural. So,
Yeah.
so get just the rain lines and just test a few of them. And you can use a variety of shapes, even though they're in the deep background. You can use a really, 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 really thin, and then just a little thicker if you want. But remember that the shape of the line of the rain line has to move in the exact same direction.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion. Other than that, let me just take a look. There's a couple other things that are catching my eye. And that would be is that there's something missing here.
Okay.
What are you gonna do right here? This is like, remember your focal points, right? So there's a big
Yeah.
focal point right here. What are you gonna do right here?
I have no idea.
Let me I'm gonna clear my drawings. Take a look at this. Well, I don't think you need anything there. The only thing that might work. Oh, one more thing. I like how you've got these little scratchy little lines in the lava.
Mhm.
So, but these lines here need to be brightened up.
Okay.
They disappear. So get these little lines to be more lighter color, more white.
All right.
Yeah, maybe just some more detail here. You know,
Okay.
just maybe just I'm using the wrong color. Let me use this pink. Maybe just some, because you've got this kind of detail in here,
Mm-hmm.
but just maybe some little rocks or something.
All right.
All right, yeah, it's looking pretty good. And you need to put fire somewhere.
Okay.
On your final or something like that.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Charlie, did we look at this one ready? This is new. No, this is new.
Yeah, that's the new one.
Oh, loop.
You got seasonal allergies or something?
Yeah, the tree that's right outside this new apartment of mine, it like blooms, and then it was really windy for the last couple days, and it's killing me.
Ooh, what a good combination.
It's killing me. It's killing me. All right, so all right, I have some suggestions for you, and I'm sorry this takes a while, but it helps everybody.
You're good.
And it's incrementally making all these pieces much better, so that's good. All right, Zoom, wake up. God damn it, wake up. I don't know what to do. It's gotta wake up. Oh my God. There, jeez, oh man. Jeez.
Doesn't like working under pressure.
I guess not. All right, so I like this little outline that you've got working here. One thing that I would maybe experiment with is if you've got a shape of the smoke that is the outline, that is this like, this is the gray part. And I like that you've got the little light gray that is not exactly fitting to it. And I think that I want you to play with that a little more.
Okay.
So offset it and maybe even have some holes so that if the shape of your smoke, the outline of this, the shape of your smoke looks like this, you know, whatever it is. And then just like it was a printing mistake, right? See if you can get the offset to be both inside and outside the line. I think that'll help improvement a lot. So, and then I think that you owe it to your style here to do the same kind of outline for this series of clouds. And then I think you need another series of clouds here that are moving a little bit faster
Okay.
and the same direction. And then another series of clouds here that are moving very slowly. And so the distance would be that if, let me just draw it like this. So this kind of works right here, that in Toon Boom, if when you put the key position on your first part of the cycle, and remember, I don't really care that the loop is going to jump. There's a clever way to fix it if we had thousands of dollars, but it doesn't really matter. But this is a really good visual indication here that if you want these clouds to move slowly, then only move them a little bit. Then these, so this cloud, these little clouds here that are in the deep background would only need to be about this far off to the right of the stage. This medium right here, it would have to be further out, a longer piece of artwork. And then if these guys are moving fast, then it's going to have to be even a longer piece of artwork. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
All right, so I think that you owe it to your artistic style to give an outline to the lava. And I think that you might even want to go in here and give an outline to the fire. Because remember, we talked about that stylization thing.
Mhm.
And now you've got the forward atmospheric perspective. And so take this tree and just nail it. Take this tree and then just give it like a really, really thick outline on all these little details. Just as thick as you can possibly get it and imagine it as an artist. And even like a little shadow down here with some weeds or something like that. But you know, these lines right here should be really, 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 really strong. And I think you'll see it immediately once you start doing this. So in this theory right here of using the offset colors in your smoke,
Mhm.
you've started it here, but it looks like a mistake. It looks like a design error. So fix it. And it's up to you whether you want to go this way or not. But one thing to do is to paint on the inside and on the outside of the line that is the horizon for this green. Same thing, inside and outside of the line. And then do the same thing with this little pool here, so that you've got the definition of that quote unquote shoreline of the lava flow, right? And let the definition of the shoreline go in and outside the paint of the line, of that line itself. And it might work. I think it'll work. And do the same thing with the clouds. So paint the clouds with a really thick, really, really, really thick outline in the foreground, and diminish it so that it's a little thinner and very thin in the background. But then, and you know what I'm talking about by misprinting, right?
Yeah.
They use this a lot. They use this to a huge extent in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the 2D, 3D animated one.
Yeah.
All right, and then I think you need to go and address your water. Your lightning could use some better shapes in here. You know, think about more of a, and this isn't the best fix right here, but think about more of a root shape for your lightning, because you have like a fork. Your lightning looks like a fork. Make it look more like a root.
Okay.
So just fix that. That's an easy fix. This right here for your water, I think that what you need is, it's in the foreground, so you need more, it needs to be bigger, and you need a more definition on it. It should be more like the traditional Joe Gilland Disney water. So yeah, you have to redo this. It's not looking like the demo I did. So, and remember, this is your cone, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, fix this water. The other thing that you want to do is in fixing this, it's going to be probably 2 or 3 times longer, which will contrast with these bubbles. These bubbles, I think that you want to go back and look at my bubble demo just a little more closely, because I think that you need some better shapes in there. They're
Can't
looking.
remember if you did a bubble demo with
I
us,
did.
but I'll look. Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I think I did it last week. So, because what's catching my eye is that you've got the water splash and then the bubbles. So they're moving at kind of like the same pace. And I'm not sure if the water's going up or the bubbles are going down or whatever. So make sure that the water splash has an animated look that is coming up. I think that what'll help is if you do that little secondary thing in the water splash we talked about, that secondary splash right in the middle.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that'll fix this is actually paint the water a lighter color so that the bubbles are this orange. And so this water, even though it might not seem like it's a real good idea, but because it's lava or whatever, but painted a lighter color, I think your composition needs the lighter watercolor anyway. Oh, and then we didn't talk about it, but this smoke could use some outline too. I think that the smoke is moving. Okay, you might want to slow this one down. So consider this, consider slowing it down, but also consider giving a stronger outline and over and under painting the exterior of the shape of that smoke as well. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that'll help it. You're welcome.
Oh, also just a quick question for
Yes.
the final we're doing.
Yes.
If I wanted to kind of give it that isometric video game feel with my composition, would that just be a lot of work on myself?
Well, I think that what will answer your own question is if you do a sketch, like, you know, I don't know if you can see this. Nope. you
Nope.
can't do that. It disappears. Wait, oh, almost had it.
Nope.
There it is. Do a drawing.
Yeah.
Do a drawing of it and use the same when I do the little drawings right here that I was trying to show you. I'm using like a graph paper, like an engineering student might use or a math student might use.
Ooh, man.
And remember that there is a strong correlation between arts and sciences. So get over it, right? You're artists, but you also have a very artistic mind. In fact, some of the best musicians some of the best musicians ever out there started out as like engineering students. Just keep that in mind. But when you're using the graph paper, just use 4x7. Four little blocks high by 7 blocks wide, and that is very close to 16:9 ratio.
Okay.
4x7, or 8x14 if you want to draw a little bigger. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
I mean, I think
Yeah,
it's literally just, hey, test it out, but it's
Yeah,
just
just
because
do a
for
drawing
my-
so that I can see it more clearly.
yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, Mark, sorry I'm going so slow here, everybody. Trying to go fast. All right, Mark, talk to me. What else are you going to do here?
That's kind of what I've been having a blank on. Like I figured I remember you mentioning the bubbles last weekend, so I figured, you know, I'd start with the bubble, see how that goes, and then like just things whirling and like maybe some tiny tornadoes potentially.
Okay.
And I still have the background from last week. Just I want to isolate the bubble make sure. I didn't want to like overlay things and make like my background distracting for the purposes of like looking at this little animation that I have.
Okay. Well, without doing your project for you, I think that you would have wanted to stay more true to the idea of doing a drawing before you started planning this out. Because your drawing is your plan, right?
Okay.
I'm looking at my list here. So you are, oh, that's not the right list. Are you game or animation?
Game.
Your game. You know, I had this conversation with the director down at Kenyatta College last week because he's wanting to start a game department down there. And
Huh?
it's brand new. Actually, it's weird because the whole administration down there, just like everyone else in the whole world, is shut down, right? Everyone's working from home. And because of that, they have all this time to think. And I know that he's been thinking of putting together a game department down there for a long time. And he had me on a Zoom call and he was asking me just some strategy questions, you know, where do we start? Where do we start that program? And are they going to do like game programming, UI, UX, full stack, you know, modeling, lighting, texturing, rigging, all of it. He's going to throw all of it. He's got so much time to think about this. And we both agreed that the game students down there should always start with drawing. Everything starts with drawing. And so the only thing I can tell you here is pay attention to your focal points, right? And you got a focal point in the middle, and that you've got action safe and title safe on the left and right. And as soon as I start doing this, it'll help your performance, right? And then pick a horizon, pick a vanishing point. It's okay if you use this 1 point perspective, right? And there's perspective in the sky. And that each one of these grids should be squares in there. Start out closer in the horizon. And so that helps you with the performance of this cauldron. It also might be more interesting if the cauldron was offset to one side, so it's not simply just dominating, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that changes this thing. If you wanted a shelf in here and you were using 1 point perspective, right? Then this shelf would be, the top of the shelf would be hidden.
Yeah.
That's just the rules. So in order to see the top of a shelf or a table, you would want to put it over here, or you'd want to put it here so that you could actually see what was on it. Anything else above the horizon, you would see the bottom. And so just think about your composition. And if you wanted to draw a room, then the room doesn't have to follow the same perspective as your 1 point, but you would want to definitely put it in there.
I imagine a room, and right now I'm just kind of getting a blank wall on the far
No.
side.
Look what I'm doing though. See, I'm
Yeah.
drawing this environment for you, but everything in the space is behaving to this vanishing point, right?
Yeah.
But then these guys have their own vanishing points too. You can do that. And you're allowed to, in composition, you're allowed to do that. In layout, you're allowed to do that. And so just by drawing these few lines, you can see that these things are behaving towards the room. And then you can think about, you know, maybe bottles that are sitting here and anything that else might be in the room, and then make a list. You've got, you know, your cauldron, you've got water, fire, explosion, smoke, lightning, and you can keep going. You could get pixie dust in there, and then even in this composition here, you could break it up, and so that there's another room back here. You know, it doesn't have to just always be a singular room. There's another room back there.
I think that's
So, you know, and this is being recorded, so you can always just kind of
Yeah,
do a screen grab of this, and then you can have all kinds of things happening. But this might help too. This idea of listing water, bubbles, you know, smoke, two kinds of smoke, smoke 1, smoke 2, lightning. And then remember that in this composition, you've got to definitely have focal points here, 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 here. You know, this thing right here, whatever it is, and then so that this kind of ideation will help you. And then
okay,
you make this a chemistry lab, and then just go do some visual searching online for what chemistry labs look like. And when you do like the chemistry lab reference, just do like chemistry lab, chemistry jokes, chemistry lab, and then just switch this to drawing. There's got to be a tons of stuff out there. And so let me see if I cross-reference this one. You know, there's some stuff there. I'm not getting a really good search.
yeah. But I
That
get what,
looks a little,
I understand what
Okay.
you're saying.
you know, this, now you're talking, right?
Yeah,
So do like some science fiction chemistry lab. And then all of a sudden, all you need to do is kind of borrow, you know, pick your pieces and borrow. This looks very similar to something someone might have done for this class. This is, right? So now you're in this composition here, your horizon is up. This is a tall adult's eye view. So these are good right here. You know, this one is a bird's eye view. Right?
yeah,
So yeah, just start there and don't do the cartoony ones. All right, let me go back to our class.
okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah, so do
That's
some
a lot.
research. That's the other
Yeah.
part you haven't done is the research on it.
yeah,
Okay.
thank you, thank you.
All right, you. Are these, which one is new here? Are these both new?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, my annotation came right up. Thank you, Javon. Oh, shoot. Okay, are you there?
Yes.
You, Flurry? Your clouds go away. So I think you need more clouds over here. So that
Okay.
they don't just go away,
Yeah.
right? Everything is looking pretty good. Everything is looking pretty good. I think that what might help here is a little bit of a stronger outline.
Uh-huh.
So go on each one of these frames and give yourself just a little bit of a stronger outline on the smoke,
Okay.
just a little bit. That's all I see. I think that just get this cloud working.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Do you think the cloud running too fast?
Yeah, so slow them down.
Okay.
Yeah, slow them down and add this one here.
Mhm.
Also, I think that I like this debris, right? I like this, but I want more. So do more of it and have some of them go off the screen.
Okay.
Something's bugging me about this. I'm not quite sure what to do. I think that what you want to do maybe is,
Transition.
say that again?
Transition. So the wet from between the ground and the water. So it's
Oh, yeah, so
Match.
give yourself some detail. Just
Oh,
go
okay.
in, just go in there and do something like this.
okay.
You know, add like the little parts of the water that are more like just a little bit more detail, something like that is all you need.
Oh, okay.
All right, you don't have lightning in here. Did you want to put lightning in here?
I can try.
Lightning is always good, right?
Mhm.
All right, let me get out of here and go back to the other one. You had two, right?
Yeah, the other one's the tornado.
Okay, so, and you can probably guess my suggestions here. And Zoom is not behaving right now. Come on, Zoom. It was working there for a moment. There we go. All right, so the suggestions here is that you've got this line right here, and I would suggest breaking up this line so it looks a little bit more organic. You got to think about what it is. It's the countryside, right?
Yeah.
So give this like more of an organic shape, and then give another line that's a little bit similar to it, that's maybe more of a foreground. And then one that's in the background. So I think you just need to redirect those a little bit. I like your debris here, but it's contained to just this area. So think about having some debris that falls all the way out here. Same idea here. You're breaking up your foreground, your midground, and your background elements here. Do the same thing in the sky. So this is the foreground. This stuff right here is all foreground. So give yourself a midground set of clouds up here, and then get some background clouds here. That'll help that one. All right, you got your
Okay.
notes?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you, you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, Rodrigo. All right, you're still in the early stages on this one. This part of the cloud right here is not moving.
I see.
So you see it? So I like the little motion that you've got here. And it's in the deep background, which is fine. But I think that what you need to do, let's see if I can get Zoom to work. Could you, as I'm trying to get this to work, you want to tell me what your other elements are here? What are you planning on?
Well, I was planning on having an explosion on the bigger volcano to the right, and then having some fire on that log of wood over there.
This
that you're,
one?
yeah, that one.
All right, so the motion stops right here. This one, this little cloud has to move into this position here.
Right.
So it's got to move into it, and it doesn't animate into this position yet. And then technically, literally, that cloud needs to move off the screen. So you got to fix that. I would suggest making sure that if this log is on fire, that you got to kind of pick a couple of things. You're gonna pick the shape of the fire, and you're gonna have to kind of pick your style as well. What I might suggest is that if you have like and get this log to not just be a straight line, burn it, get the thing to be already kind of charred up, and then put fire in a couple of different places on it, so that you've got a couple of things to work with here, and then you've got some fire working on the other side of it, like that. I think that'll work. And then because the wind is blowing that way, go ahead and give yourself just like a little bit of transparent smoke maybe two layers of it here. And so if this is a water, if this is water, then I think you could do a water splash here. Right?
Mhm.
Lightning. This would probably be good for your debris, because you've already got two smokes here, right? So do your debris right here, and maybe the lava as well, right? So this is your lava. Just, you only need like 3 of them or something like that. This tree right here is bugging me. It's in the foreground. It's right near the left upper and lower focal points. So, and it's dominating. I think that, and because it's dominating, you really should be doing something with it. If we have smoke and fire and water and rain, I think that because you haven't done anything with it yet, I think you should just remove it. Remove it and then concentrate on this water splash being more dominant. And go back to my tutorial on the water splash and just make it bigger. Just do the water splash bigger. So remove this tree there. Yeah, but make sure you do this lightning and the flash, the white, black, white flash that goes with it. And get going on it. Get going on it.
So just remove the tree.
Yeah, remove this tree.
Okay.
Because why? You've got this one, and remember that it's a burning log, so make sure that it looks like it's already burned. So do your research. You know, go in there and burning tree log. All right, let me get that log out of there. Burning tree. And now I'm getting something strange. So let me turn it to burning log. Burning stump. All right, you see what it looks like here? It's like it's ragged, it's burned, it's not geometric at all. It's extremely organic. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Shane. Okay, I think you've got a good start here, Shane. Are you there?
Yep.
All right, this is moving too fast. Slow it down to half.
Yeah, I was
What-
animating on 1. I should try 2 actually.
What is it on right now? Is it on 2s?
No, it's on 1.
It's on 1s.
Yes.
Put it on 2s, at least on 2s.
Yeah, if you look at the bubble, it's really on 1.
The bubbles are on 1s?
Yeah, they're all on 1s.
So
Almost
that's
too-
fine. You
too
can leave
small.
the bubbles on 1s, but put this smoke on 2s.
Okay.
And then look at it and study it and say, my guess is that it's going to be better on 4s.
Oh,
So put this smoke on 4s. All right, and then you're going to put lightning in here
yeah.
and lava.
Mm,
No.
I'm not sure.
Uh,
If I add lava in there, I would need to consider how they like drip into the pool and
Okay.
affecting the bubbles.
All right, so a couple of things for you here. Those little projectiles are not moving correctly. Your animation, right? I can tell.
Yes.
Right? Right. If I can get my Zoom to wake up here. Come on, Zoom. Zoom. Oh my God.
You mean the projectiles coming out of the volcano?
Yes, yes.
Okay, it's the
They
arc,
should,
not right.
they should be going up. And then a couple of them should be hitting and bouncing down. You know, because right now your volcano is this shape. And so they should really be going up like this. I mean, it's okay if some of them go like that, but I think that you might want to take my suggestion from when we did the demo on this earlier and maybe have a couple of these guys spinning. You know, have fun with it.
Okay.
You know, it's just like, it's an object that's in rotation. And it's okay if you have them just on the right side. You know, you don't have to do anything over here with it, but you might want to just go ahead and pay attention to the principles of animation and make sure that they're slowing down. They ease into this position. This is your key position, and that they ease out of this key position.
Okay.
So that's the whole trick with slowing in and slowing out. Because right now what you've got is you've got these guys just going like this. And they're all moving at a regular rate. And you shouldn't do that. They should be moving. Well, actually in projectiles, I think this is a better presentation so that you can see the ease in and ease out. Technically here, they should be speeding up out here. But I think that they are projectiles, they are debris, they are particles, and you need more of them. So consider the layout of just kind of all this stuff happening. And then it'll look more cohesive as a layout. Now you've got stuff here. What are you going to do here?
Maybe add more debris, just make them symmetrical
So
on both sides.
So you've only got, you got water, I mean, you got smoke and debris and bubbles, but you don't have a water splash. I mean, that's fine. You can keep it kind of simple. But my suggestion would be is to maybe go
Or
in.
just the lightnings in the background.
You're going to put lightning in there?
Yeah.
All right, that would be fine. But then I think that you would want to think about your cloud. You know, do a background, midground, foreground composition of the clouds that are in the background.
Okay, so are the clouds just layout or are they animated?
No, you can do them either way. You can just leave them there.
Okay, just fill out the space.
But because they're clouds, it's just so easy in Toon Boom to key these on the timeline and then just move this one slowly, this one medium, and this one a little bit more faster medium, just to get them to move a little bit.
Okay, that's easy.
And I like your drawing. I like the smoke. Just make sure that you slow this down.
Yeah, put them on twos.
Put it on twos or even fours.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you go past fours, you have to start doing in-betweens though.
Yeah, it's too choppy.
Yeah, it just sticks too much. I like the little splashes that you've got in your bubble. But the other thing that you might want to do is, because I see that you copy and pasted them all over the place, is that you may want to go do one or two that's just a little different so that they're not all the same exact bubble.
Yeah. Just make them maybe collapse differently.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Flow differently. Okay.
All right, it's looking good. Keep working on it.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right. Oh, geez. All right, everyone, take a half hour. Take a break. All right, I think what I'd like to do right now is answer that request about using the nodes in Toon Boom. I know it's not the most intuitive thing. And the node view does look a little intimidating. I mean, completely and totally intimidating. But let's review that just here for a second. All right, so once again, I just have my volcano demo open. Let me check to see if any of these have nodes on them. All right, so two things to refresh, to remind. The first thing is nodes. And on this smoke layer right here, and so, oops, hold on. So on this layer right here, I'll turn it off and turn it back on again. So that is my smoke highlight right there. And if I turn on my render mode, my little render view, you can see that it is just a kind of a pale. So what was really gray before is now really pale in the actual render view. And remember, the other thing about Toon Boom is that I had told you all that there were problems with this file, but I don't think that there's anything broken. I think it keeps working. This one keeps chugging along. So this is my render view. I go back to my regular view, and you can see that I started out with that highlight being gray, and I changed it all the way to with this glow. So in this highlight, smoke highlight level, which is on its own layer in the node view, remember that in order to get this, you just hit select everything make sure that this box has the red line around it. Select everything and click this one so that the order view is up, and click this one, and then just say yes to overlapping by 25 pixels and say okay. And yeah, that's the weird thing. If anyone heard my chime right there, there's a very strange thing that oh no, Sharon is coming back in. Anyway, there's a very strange thing with Zoom, that the little chimes, the bing bing, when you come in and when you ask to be admitted into the classroom, is the exact same chime that the Microsoft people use to let me know that I have an email in my inbox. Gets a little distracting. All right, so what happens is that we ordered this up, and I like looking at it this way. This is becoming a very complicated project. In my smoke highlight, I'm going to touch this layer, just the first frame, which lets me know that this is my smoke highlight. So it gets highlighted right there. And on that, I have hold on. I have a glow node. This, and when I was first learning this, my instructor told me never to do this, but this is a better way to see it, that the smoke highlight level gets fed into a glow node, and then the glow node gets fed into the composite. This is a transformation node that we weren't using. Or that was a bone that we weren't using. I don't even know how that got there. All right, so zooming in here. So the way to do this, kill the fly first, is like, let's say that there is, that we wanted to put a glow and a transparency node on this. So right now I've got the smoke highlight going into a glow node, and in the node library, I'm going to go find a transparency. Just look and see. I like this blur. I'm going to put this blur, Gaussian blur. I'm just going to drop it right there. So, and I know that the way I was taught how to do this was that if you take this node and you interrupt it here and you shake it, it's supposed to just stick in there. But I think that code was written for PCs and not Macs, because I've never got this to work once. It comes from a composite application called Shake, where if you wanted to just get rid of this, you would just take this node and shake it, and it works just like Shake. It works just like that compositing application, but this one's not working. So I'm going to take this and feed it into the blur, and I'm going to take the blur and then feed it into the glow so that there's a logical flow from smoke highlight into blur into glow, and then it gets put in the composite. So then back in the timeline view, you'll see that now we have a smoke highlight, and now we have a blur, the Gaussian blur, and a glow. So the glow is the one that we already had in there. And if you open it up, you can see that you've got our RGB values and an alpha and an intensity. And it's easier to work with the render view on, so you can actually see what's happening to it. But we just added the Gaussian blur. So let's play with that one. So I'm going to close the glow just to keep organized and open up the Gaussian blur. So it works just like the same kind of numerical parameters that you have in Photoshop. There's no blurriness. And so I'm going to just take this and hold it and drag it out to like 1 or 2. It says 5, it says 2. You could also highlight it and just move your arrow keys, or you have to highlight the number in order for that to work. And it's not working on my keyboard right now, so I'm just going to put in the value of 1 and see what happens. And I'm going to take that and put it to 2 and see what happens. And you can see that it is getting more blurry. So this number here is very sensitive. So again, you can either grab the number and move it, and then look at your render node. So now I have it up to 3.4, and it's very, very subtle. So I'm going to bring it back down to just like 2.9. And it always takes a moment for it to actually render. I'm going to save it, go back to my color mode, and go back to my regular view. And remember that, so that's how you use that node, any of the nodes. And remember too, that in the node library, in the very early versions of Toon Boom, these nodes were all just kind of set in their random, and now they're in like folders. So each one of these is like a folder just filled with different nodes. And remember that there's even some particle effects. There's even some special effects in there that we don't use because it's kind of sort of cheating. And you're welcome to kind of play around with them. I think that they're hidden under particle. So you can play with these: explosions, bubble, distortions, confetti, fairy dust. You know, they are in there. I think that the purpose of the class here was just talking about composition and aesthetics and stuff like that, and not necessarily getting into using all these nodes. All right. So does that help? I forget who asked me.
Yeah, that helped.
Alex, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it works. And remember that the key here is that when you first start building things on your stage, and remember, we're all visual learners, right? We just do things in a very visual sense. And so that anything that we do on our stage, anything that we do for the animation, for the composition, anything, it's just all very visual. And so this node view is very visual, but it's kind of scary and daunting at the same time, because if I hit Command A and then just, I forget what well, they come in here and it says show all nodes, right? But when you look at it, they're just completely scrambled. They're just all on top of each other. There's no like logic to it. I'm using the middle mouse on my mouse button to zoom. So just like you're on the stage, you can zoom with your middle mouse. You can zoom in this window too. And it's really the best thing to just always keep organized, especially when you're in your timeline view and you're making the new layers and you're naming them. It's the same philosophy of keeping everything named and organized so that it's bubble 7, fire, smoke, overlay, tree, so that these names of the layers are short and identifiable, and you can understand what's working, where it is, so that when you get to this view, the biggest thing is blur Gaussian, and that's already given. Everything that you have put in here as a name should be easily recognizable. I also remember that, let me see if this actually works this way. In the smoke highlight layer, I'm going to go back to the smoke highlight layer. So a lot of times what I like to do is click on this little box right here. And when I double click on it, it gives me this color wheel. And I'm just going to give the smoke highlight layer this magenta color right here and say okay. And so that lets me know, hey, I've done something to that particular layer. I've added 2 nodes, and it gives me a little color indicator in this node view too. Now it gets a little visually jarring if you just start giving every single layer this bright color here. So just keep it in mind. What you may want to do is kind of readjust this so that it's a little less crazy on your eye, and bring it down to something that's more like that. You know, because it does respond. It's not, even in this presentation over here on the left at that little box, it's okay, but when we get down here, it's still kind of jarring. So I always kind of just trick it into just being recognizable enough that you did something to that layer. All right, so that's that. The other thing that I want to do, and I think what I'm going to do right now is, let me think about this for just a moment. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to put this away. So I think what I would like to do is just talk about this flag for a moment. And so I think that one of the reasons why I was kind of scatterbrained almost about this was that, I don't have the sketch drawing up on my desktop. Normally it's right to the right because I'm always using it, but it's the one that is that's got the pixie dust and then the flag, and I think I kind of missed the flag idea because that's right when I needed to have my computer rebuilt. But because of that, we're going to use this flag as extra credit. So before I do anything else, let me go back into the class, and I'm going to add I'm going to refresh my screen. Hold on a second. The internet catch up with itself right here. So Rodrigo, I had seen that you had done the smoke and that you probably used the reposition all drawings and got the smoke to work on top of one of your volcanoes. But even in this view here, which you had just uploaded this morning, and now the school server is being really slow, that you can see that this, I'm refreshing my tab here. It's not refreshing yet. It's not refreshing yet. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, all right, there we go. Even in this upload, you can tell that the smoke is not looping correctly. You see that it's just kind of pumping into this third bunch of smoke, and that this one's not moving at all. So you know the fix, right? We already talked about this. You know the adjustment to make right there. Okay. All right, so let me go to discussion. Let me go to add topic. And I'm going to say this is going to be extra credit. Flag. I'm going to open it from today, and we'll leave this go all the way to the end of May, even though it's kind of overkill. Please post a flag animation as extra credit. And with this, what I want to do is push the idea that I was going to work on shattering glass and an orb, which we will do next week. And, you know, and at this point, you might even begin to have an animators and artistic intuition about how those things are done in Toon Boom, but we'll go over those next week. All right, so I'm going to submit this, and you'll see right at the very bottom is this new digital folder for a flag. All right, so let's talk about a flag. There's a couple of things that are very interesting about a flag, and that is that it behaves like fire. What you're doing is you're moving nodes from one position to another. You're moving sine waves from one position to another. And if we just do a little bit of research and we say, let's switch this to 2D animation flag. And again, I don't think that these this flag is going to fit into any of your volcano or tornado or even your final composition. I mean, I can't imagine how you would put that in there. But there's a couple of things to think about. First is that this image right here is really good. This is how it actually works, where you draw a keyframe of a flag. And it's great. There's a little up node, there's a down node, there's a little crease in the flag itself. And this comes to us from one of my favorite textbooks, which is The Timing for Animation by John Hallis and Harold Whitaker. So it's time tested and true, but there's a couple of things that you want to think about this. First of all, the good thing is that it's simple. In this upper node, you can see a sine wave, an S shape, a sideways S shape. And in the bottom of the flag, you can see that there's a sideways S shape as well, but it's delayed just a little bit. They're not symmetrical to each other. They're just offset just a little bit, like 15 or 20 degrees or so. In this example, the flag is attached to a flagpole, which is good because if it was not, the wind would just blow it away. And there's another S shape in the tail end, the leading edge of the flag out here. In the example, the nodes move. So in this one, there's only 4 drawings. The key, the X node moves to the right, and then it moves to the right, and then it moves all the way out to this position. In this 4th drawing, the node that we were just following is starting to come back. I'll repeat that. This down node, this U-shaped nose moves to the right a little bit, moves to the right a little bit more, and then it halfway disappears. And in this 4th drawing, it's starting to come back so that by the drawing number 1, it repeats itself. These 2 drawings are technically supposed to be the same drawing. Key number A. Actually, the way the animators had done this up was that there's only really 2 keys. It's like you put the node here, and then you put the node here where it's coming back, even in the 2nd drawing, and then you do a breakdown drawing between it, and then you do a breakdown drawing from your 2nd key back into the 1st one. That's the whole idea of getting it to loop. But, comma, ellipsis, there's a problem. I want you to notice that the very tip of the flag has a backwards S shape to it. And then in the 2nd drawing, which is the breakdown, and in the 3rd drawing, even 4th drawing, and the copy, they're all of this backwards S shape. The problem is that if you're not paying attention, even in this example here, these two ends of the nodes are very, very close to each other. Here, they're a little bit further apart, but the danger is if you're not paying attention, you can end up having your flag do this, where this example might look correct, where, yeah, the sine wave is moving from this position to this position, and the sine wave, the red part, which you can't see out here, is moving into this position. But it's inconceivable that a strong wind, 15-mile-an-hour wind, might be pushing the flag so that the flag is out there flapping in the wind, but that the tip of the flag, the edges of the flag, the corner of the flag are almost locked in 3D space. And it makes for very bad animation. This example right here, not only are the very corners of the flag stuck in 3D space, but the whole leading edge of the flag, this is very bad. So this is horrible. Don't ever look, don't look at this one. You know, and this one, the actual animation is okay, but it's only because there's a difference between the very corners of the flag and the top and bottom position. The wind is pushing from the left to the right. Yeah, and there's little eddies, so that causes the little bends in the flag. That's great. In 2D, like an introduction to 2D animation class, they might even couple the idea of a seaweed or an underwater plant moving with the current going left and right, or a tail wag with a flag, and then you turn the flag horizontally or vertically, and that is your fire. And so in one iteration of this class, I'm going to put the flag movement somewhere near when we do our fire, because it's the same exact kind of process. This one is a new page, but you can in this example here, just look at the leading edge, backwards X, backwards S, backwards S, backwards S, backwards S. It's very dangerous. That's where the flag should be moving around the most, the cloth, the fabric, whatever it is. That's where it should be moving around the most. Now, this is one of the best animated flags out there that I've seen. It's got 26 keyframes in it, and it's just really beautiful. This says it's a GIF, but it's not working right now. You know, that one's a good one. That's a really great flag, but it's kind of just a little too much for us today. That one was this one. All right, so let's go back to my little demonstration. The first thing that you want to do here is give yourself some sort of composition. So in the layout here, I've used the upper left and lower left focal points to just get a flagpole that's kind of just sitting there. My flagpole is on its own layer. My background is just a simple line. I'm using Rough Animator just at this moment, and it is just on its own layer. This whole cycle is only 16 frames. It's only 8 drawings on 2s, and it's only 16 frames. So the flagpole doesn't move, the ground plane doesn't move. On layer number 1, now what I'm going to do just right here is kind of just go over this a little. Just my rough. And I wish that I had Toon Boom, because it's hard to draw like this without rotating your screen. So in this example here, in my first frame, I'm going to give my flag 3 nodes instead of 2, just to make it a little more interesting. And I'm going to give the S shape a little break at the end up there. And you'll see here in just a moment that what I'm also going to do is get the edge of the flag to flip over on itself, like that little example. The crease here usually belongs either on the leading edge, which could be over here, or the trailing edge of the X node itself. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to animate this straight ahead. And so I'm going to add a frame here, add a drawing afterwards. And you can see here in this example that the purple that I've drawn is now in just a light onion skin. And this node right here, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add kind of a layout here. I'm going to switch colors for just a moment. Get my layout color. Okay, so on my layout layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the little suggestions here. So that's my X node. This is my O node. And on the layout layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remind everyone that the nodes move. They move on an arc. And so this node right here is going to move into this position eventually. This node is going to move to the very tip of the flag right here. This node came from over here somewhere, right? This is my timing. So if I took a center position for this little crease, it's going to move at a regular rate all the way across the composition. Now I'm just going to suggest that because I don't know exactly what my timing is like right now. I know I want 8 drawings. Basically on my layout, if I were to finish this node, this O node right here on the very first drawing, it's actually over here. You just can't see it. If I did this, then this O node is actually over here. We just haven't seen it yet. This X node is actually hiding over here. We really haven't seen our X nodes yet. And so from that, I can get a very good idea of what my timing is going to be like, right? For a total of 8 drawings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you just divide this arc of motion right up here into 8 different sections. 8, and the wind is moving at a regular rate. So I'm just going to look at it. I'm going to say, here's half. And I'm going to go 1, 2, I'm going to draw lightly at first, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's really close right there. That each one of these divisions is very similar in distance. And then I can continue those out to the other sections, the other portions of the flag, even to the point where this is drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so the idea is to get it to loop on itself. And that timing matches the crease and the bottom as well. So this is drawing 1, this is drawing 1, this is 2, drawing 3, drawing 4, drawing 5, drawing 6, drawing 7, and drawing 8. So the actual timing then would be frame number 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 15 on 2s, which is a total of 16 frames. All right, so that's my layout layer. And I'm going to diminish that just a little bit, just to kind of leave it sit there in the background. All right, so I'm going to animate this straight ahead as opposed to the example that we had just seen where the author decided to just do one node here in the middle. I'm sorry, one node here for the key drawing and pick drawing number 5. In drawing number 5, it's right in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you can see that in my example here, which was a little bit different than the example that we were just looking at, is that this is my breakdown drawing. So when I get to the 5 position, I have to make sure that the node, the O node and the X node are moving at the correct pace. All right, so I'm going to go back to my purple. The very first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to draw the part of the flag. Oop, I'm using the wrong color. I'm going to draw this part of the flag, the part of the flag that sits on the rings. And I don't want to trace this back. I don't want to copy and paste it because the wind is kind of wiggling it around a bunch. So on each one of these drawings, I'm just going to say, I'm going to add a drawing after, and I'm just going to trace this back. I think it's a good idea to put the flagpole on an angle. It just looks better. It's got a little bit of tension, a little bit of cinematic tension in there. This is called a trace back. The thing I'm doing right now is called a trace back. And even though as hard as I try, I'm going to get these lines with a little grommet, the edge of the flag that is really technically just taut in the wind, that I'm tracing it back. And I could try all as I might to get it perfect, but it's still going to wiggle around a little bit. And that's exactly what I want. I want it to move just a little bit so that if I trace it back, I can't get it perfect. If I'm doing it by hand, I will never get it perfect, but that's good. That's what I want. All right, and I'm also kind of thinking about a couple of things is that as I'm tracing it back, it's kind of like I'm changing it as I go from key to key a little bit because I'm copying it from the last one. I'm not copying from the first one, which was something that we did in 2D animation. If you were doing a technical trace back, you would do all of these trace backs from just one drawing so that that would kill any, or it would really diminish any kind of wiggle. This kind of technique for using traceback was very heavily used in Ed, Edd n Eddy, Danny Antonucci's cartoon. And so they would actively, this traceback wasn't really accurate. It was super messed up. And so if I play this, you can see that little thing I drew, it's wiggling around just enough. It also established the keys. It also established, and now I can just go to the next key with the keyboard shortcut, and I can get through my animation a little faster. I'm going to start with this node right here, and I'm just going to make sure that the top of the node is belonging to the arc of motion, and I'm just going to draw that. I'm going to get the bottom node to move just this far. I'm going to connect those two lines, and then I'm going to connect it to the grommet. Same thing down here. I'm going to move it out just about that 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to get the bottom node to move out 1/4 of an inch, connect these two, and I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to get it connected back to the grommet. I'm going to go to the next key, and I'm going to do the same thing. So now this is moving into this position. This move is moving into this position. I'm connect them. Now I'm going to connect it back to the grommet. And you can see what I'm doing, that I haven't done the leading edge yet. I haven't done that. I have to do it in parts. So this node goes to there, it goes to this one. This node comes out a little bit, connect them here, and let it go all the way back to the grommet. So I'm going to do the next one. This one comes out to here. This node is here. I'm going to smooth that out a little bit. And by now you can kind of get the idea that even these distances should be just about the same. The distance that the little open area of the flat, oops, I don't want that, should be moving just about the same. All right, I'm going to go to the next frame, and I'm going to move it out to here. I'm going to move the bottom one, I'm going to connect it. And again, one of the things that I like to do is remind everyone that if you do the animation in the same order, it's just the same kind of thing we were doing with the pixie dust, with the smoke, everything. Your hands have memory. And so if you do things in the same order, your hand and your mind will kind of belong to each other. They kind of, I'm going to do things in the same order. Start with this one. So this one, it's already kind of diminished a little bit. And so I'm going to just kind of start it, get this one going, and then connect it. And then by the time we get over here, we can see that this X node has come in already. So I'm going to go backwards a keyframe. And so this little X node is moved into this position. We got a new node. And I'm sorry I'm drawing rough, but that's okay. In this drawing, this node is moving there to, and so get it to move to the right. And I'm actually introducing a little flutter right here and a crease. And this node is moving to the right. And we have 2 more drawings to do. So I'm going to start with this one right here. It's going to move to the right. This new node that we just did is moving to the right and connect it back to the grommet. All right, and then go backwards if you need to see it. This node right here is moving to the right. This new one is moving this way, connect it back to the grommet. And then this one is moving to the right just a little bit. And then one more. Now, what I had done originally was copied the first drawing and pasted it, but I deleted it off here. And that's like the easiest way to make sure it's going to animate back into the cycle correctly. So on this one, the node is moving to the right. Go backwards to make sure that your lines are all moving. Go backwards, make sure your lines are moving correctly. And we have to do the leading edge. So go backwards, forwards. And get them to lead back up to the grommet. All right, so then I'm going to go back to my first drawing. Let's just see what this looks like for right now. So I've got the little flutter happening. Those little nodes on the top and the bottom are working. I don't, you can see my rough working there. But the next thing that I want to do is this little crease. And this is easy. So just go here. And then the next one, it's either here or here. We can vary up that distance a little bit. And remember that by the time you get out to this distance, that this crease is going to have to come back in at one point. So remember that this curve, this upper curve here, is what's causing this crease. So keep that in mind, that you're not just drawing a graphic item, it's belonging to this upper curve and this lower curve here. All right, so here the curve, the crease is here. And then almost on the next drawing, it's going to have to start coming back in here. So let's see where I did. I put it right here. So right here to right here, this measurement should be about the same distance as your plan on your layout. So now the crease starts and it continues. In this one, I think I want to let it go away because the tip of the flag is moving around a little much. And on this one, the crease is here. All right, so let's check our crease. And it looks like it's moving fine. It's not moving backwards. It's not moving too fast or too slow. It's moving okay. All right, so then the tip of the flag, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to think about making sure that there's a couple of things happening. On my layout, what I'm gonna do right here just for you is I'm going to, in the red color, we're going to track this little tip right here. Oh, I didn't pick up my red color. All right, so a lot of times what we have is either a circular motion clockwise and counterclockwise in the bottom, a little circular motion, or sometimes they appear in a circle 8, a backwards circle 8, and that is just tracking the tip of this flag. So for our demonstration here and the idea of just finishing quickly on my layout layer, I'm just going to track my first corner here, and I'm going to go out to the next one. This is my second one right there. This is my third one. This is my fourth one, and it's behind over there. This is my fifth one, it's coming back up. This is the sixth one, it's coming back up. Seventh, it should be about right here, and then 8 comes back. And so my loop is a counterclockwise circle on the top. Let's see what the bottom one looks like for here. Oh, draw it in the wrong frame, hold on. So the corner is gonna start here. It's going to go here, it's going to go here, and this is counterclockwise as well. And it's not a perfect circle. It's kind of got a different shape to it, which is completely fine. So that is my arc of, and this is drawing number 1, and this is drawing number 1 right there. So this is counterclockwise, and this one's counterclockwise, which is absolutely fine. So when I go back to my first key here and I diminish my layout just a little bit, I can follow that guide, and it makes it really easy to identify the flip over for the corners. So on drawing number 1 right there, drawing number 2, I'm going to put my corner here, and I'm going to connect it to the node just right there. On the bottom one, it goes to here, and I'm going to connect it right there. Now, I see that on my first drawing, I have a crease. On my second drawing, I'm going to take that crease and push it to the right, connect it to the corner on the bottom, and just hint a little bit that there's still a crease. You don't want to let that crease just completely go away. And you also want to make the edge of the flag look like it's still a flag and not just a pencil drawing. Drawing number 3 is right here. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, and connect it back to the arc. Drawing number 3 is here. And so draw it and then connect it. So this edge of the flag is just moving to the right just a little bit. Actually, in this one, I have it moving backwards already, so that's okay. And then connect it to this node right there. All right, next drawing. Drawing number 4, the tip of the flag here is fallen behind it. So these 2 nodes are behind it. I'm literally just going to connect it. And the other thing that you want to do is, just like we talked about in our pixie dust, is that if any of these lines are right on top of the other lines, the apparent motion will stop. It just won't be there. It'll stop. It won't move. It'll die. All right, so now the tip of the flag on the top is still behind. Connect it to your main node. Here, I've now got the tip of the flag to come out just a little bit, and the tip is rolling over on itself, which kind of should have a crease, but that's okay. I'm just going to connect it to the invisible back. All right, next one. So the tip is out here again. It's already pushing. It's already recovered. This one is right here. And I'm just going to connect those 2 just from my rough. And the other thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that the flag is still rectangular. My flag here is just a little thin out here. That's okay. All right, so then you follow, this is your second to the last drawing. So get your corner on the bottom, get your corner on the top, connect them, look at them, make sure that the lines aren't dying, quote unquote dying, and this is your last frame. So follow the corner, connect it to the node, and this corner. Now I'm going to go backwards just a couple of drawings, and we're going to follow this crease. So this crease didn't look like it moved on this drawing right here, so I'm going to erase this one. We're going to go backwards. We're going to go back to our pencil. We're going to follow just the crease. We're on drawing number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this crease went away. This I'm going to just draw a little bit to hint at it so that it doesn't just pop. And in this drawing, it can go away. That's fine, but it's coming back over here already. See it? And then on the last drawing, we don't need to do anything except get the last drawing to have the crease that becomes the first drawing. And we can go backwards and say, do I want that crease to be on this frame as well, just a little bit? And then we'll go backwards a drawing and say, yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to go the first drawing. I'm going to follow this crease. All right, that looks fine. Let's save this and play it. All right, so this is just a good flag. You can see that the idea of getting the corners of those flags to behave in a couple of different analysis for you is that, let me pick a different color, a green color. The analysis is that the distance of this loop, the size of this loop should be similar to this one. They don't have to be exactly the same, but I would not make the top one really little and then the bottom one really big and agitated, because the wind is the thing that determines this. If the wind is blowing at 15 miles per hour, then there's going to be, that's what's holding the flag out in 3D space. So if you're going to have this kind of a shape, it can also be a circle 8, and then you can just do your timing right there. If it's going to be this kind of shape, then use the same kind of shape on the bottom. It might be fun to do a oval on the top in counterclockwise motion and a circle 8 on the bottom in clockwise motion, but keep this distance the same. Do it in parts, make sure that your distance is matching so that you've got this down node. So that you got this down node and this upper node are about halfway between your overall cycle. And then make sure that they're offset in the bottom just by a little bit. It makes sense. You don't want the flag to be like this. You know, that's something that you might do in like grade school, where they're right on top of each other. Because the flagpole is on an angle and the wind is blowing, this angle is counterclockwise to the left. So make the creases, make this angle counterclockwise to the right, and it looks better. It just looks better. All right, and that's just one flag. I would draw it in rough and I would clean it up. You could even get these little grommets to wiggle around a bit if you want. That would make sense. You could draw in. So think about it. This grommet is attached to this grommet, which has the rope on it. And then the rope goes up around a little pulley up here. And then one piece of rope comes down. I should draw this in a darker color. One piece of rope, and I'm going to draw the rope like this, comes down and goes through this one and goes all the way to the bottom. Then it ties around the tie at the bottom, and then it comes back up and attaches to this grommet right there. And so if you wanted to, when you're doing your initial trace backs, you could get this grommet, the trailing edge of the flag, this grommet, and the rope to all be tracing back so that they wiggle around a little bit too. I don't have the rope on this one. All right, so once again, that's a flag. That's a really good flag. It's an intermediate flag. It's not like this one that we saw right here, which was really great. And it's not like the other one we saw, which is got a lot of rollover. There's this one here is really great. If you can get it to play, it's right here as well. And then there's like another flag that's like a banner flag, a really long one. But I'll save that demo for someone who, for another time. All right, so flag, extra credit. Anyone doing a flag for next week? Extra credit. It's an easy thing to do, make it clean. don't try to put any logo or design on the flag. I swear you will not get it to work. When they did the animation for the carpet in Disney's Aladdin, the carpet was drawn 2D animation, and then the texture for the carpet was put in on it was 3D. And so those little details on carpet are not drawn. Just the rectangle of the carpet was drawn. Don't try to put any logos. Don't put any pirate. You'll drive yourself crazy. I promise you. It doesn't have to be painted, but it's extra credit for next week. If we were on ground, I would definitely be pushing you all a little harder to meet the milestones a little bit more carefully. But because we're all working from home and the pandemic is still raging in Brazil and Africa, it's like, stay home and just do good work. And it's okay if you do things a little slower. It's okay. I want to make sure you've got 3 or 4 good portfolio pieces to come out of this class. That's my main goal. Main goal. Work on your aesthetics, work on your art, work on your composition. That's another really important thing for me. And that's why I'm combining projects, so that you don't just have 12 little things, that you got a little pixie dust, a little flag, you know, a little glass breaking. Make it more of something that you can be, that you could put on your show reel, on your website, and that you could have people raise their eyebrows. Oh wow, you know how to do special effects. That looks great. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
Big brain of you. Thanks, Alex. Well, you know, I chuckle to myself because the first time I tried to do this, it didn't work. Remember on day 1, when we first met in day 1, I told you it didn't work. It was like, I don't know why it didn't work. I'm not going to even guess why it didn't work. It just, and so I backed off, and I did separate little projects, and then I was like, hey, you know what? Let's try this a little differently. All right, flag is extra credit for next week. And keep working. Some of you have tornadoes to finish up, and almost every one of you still has little tweaks to make on your volcano, and start working on your composition and initial animation for your final. Again, be creative. It doesn't have to be a chemistry lab. That's default. You know, that's fine. I don't mind, but we don't have to have 14 chemistry labs, but that's okay too. You can be crazy. You can be more creative if you want. All right, I will see you next week. Any other questions? Use my Yahoo to email me if you need me. I'll be around.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
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 Goodbye.
Bye.